You filled yourself with determination and set up your 12 alarms for tomorrow, resolved to start the day early, ready to be productive. But when the first alarm rings, the temptation to hit the snooze button is irresistible. All that enthusiasm from the night before vanishes. And suddenly, getting out from under the covers feels like one of the hardest tasks in the world. Almost as difficult as pronouncing Worcestershire, that English sauce with the unpronounceable name. The day that's just beginning already feels like an enemy you want to avoid at all costs, rather than a challenge you should face. As the cursor blinks on your computer screen, the to-do list seems to be staring at you, begging you to complete it. You know you should be working, but you simply can't start. And when you try, internet distractions become irresistible. You jump from tab to tab, scrolling through social media feeds, hoping the algorithm delivers something you just can't miss. The cycle continues. You refresh YouTube endlessly, waiting for that video with fast cuts and content to capture your attention for a few minutes. But this isn't one of those videos. Here, it's just me, my shaved head, a notebook, a pen, and some notes to share with you. Everything I've described so far, I've lived it too. That's why I speak with confidence. You're not lazy, you're just lost. Lost in an avalanche of super stimuli you can't control. And believe me, that's completely normal. Nowadays, we are immersed in an era with the greatest bombardment of stimuli in human history. It's not that you are weak or incapable. It's practically a miracle to be able to concentrate. This video will be different from what you're used to seeing here. No frantic edits, no flashy graphics. Just me speaking directly to you. Think of this video as a moment to calm your mind. A pause to give your brain a break. My goal here is simple. To explain why you're so overwhelmed by stimuli, and to show you 3 essential points to help you focus and regain control of your life. Because I know how it feels. It's one of the worst sensations to lay your head on the pillow at the end of the day and feel like a failure for not accomplishing simple tasks. It can be devastating. Maybe you didn't manage to send that work email, open a document, and write 2 paragraphs or even read the 5 pages you promised yourself. This doesn't happen because you're lazy or uninterested in life. It's because at some point you lost the ability to concentrate on more complex tasks. Before we continue, I want to make something very clear. This video isn't going to solve all your problems at once. It's just a guide, a path for what you need to start doing from now on. The first step is simple. Watch this video until the end. I know you might have a restless hand wanting to open another tab, check the comments, or glance at your phone. But stop. Focus here. This is the first step to taking back control of your mind, and consequently, your life. What I'm going to share with you is powerful. It worked for me. And it works because it's backed by science. Take a deep breath, calm yourself, and join me. The first point is to understand why you're so overstimulated. Yes, dopamine is to blame, but not in the way most people think. Although it's commonly associated with pleasure, dopamine's main role is motivation. There is a fascinating study that illustrates this well. They placed an animal with its dopamine system turned off next to a lever that, when activated, released food or even cocaine directly into its vein, a highly pleasurable stimulus. While it was close to the lever, it kept pressing it and receiving the stimulus. However, it only took moving its body slightly to the side, requiring it to walk back to the lever, for it to give up. It knew the pleasure was there, but lacked the motivation to seek it. Dopamine is linked to the pursuit of pleasure that comes from outside your body. This was crucial for our ancestors as it motivated them to hunt, find water, and seek shelter. In today's world, however, that same dopamine motivates us to stay glued to watching Cristiano Ronaldo's stories, for example. We live in a world of super stimuli that constantly bombard our dopamine network, elevating our pursuit of immediate pleasures to the maximum. The secret lies in learning this and gradually taking back control over your own motivation and goals. This causes our dopamine signaling to become deficient. In other words, we need more dopamine to feel the same effect we used to get with less. This is why you feel unmotivated to read, write, study, or work. These activities don't hold the same appeal as scrolling through Instagram, dancing on TikTok, or binge watching on Netflix. These super stimuli hijack our reward system, tricking the brain into believing we're about to do something important, something our life depends on. That's why we feel an irresistible urge to check a notification on Instagram. One of the most important discoveries in neuroscience in the past 75 years is that the part of the brain that processes pleasure also processes pain, and both function like a scale. This is crucial, so pay close attention. When you eat chocolate or scroll through Instagram, you experience a dopamine release and feel pleasure. The brain, so it compensates for that pleasure by negatively regulating dopamine, balancing the scale that, at that moment, is tilted toward the pleasure side. To restore balance, the brain starts weighing the pain side, but it doesn't always know exactly how far it should go. Sometimes it goes a little too far. Dr. Anna Lemke, author of the excellent book Dopamine Nation, uses the analogy of gremlins. The brain adds these little creatures to the pain side to balance the scale. However, these gremlins enjoy staying on the scale, remaining there for longer periods, which causes the scale to tilt excessively toward the pain side. This is why after eating fast food or spending an hour scrolling through Instagram without seeing anything useful, you feel a negative effect. The problem is that nowadays, there is no shortage of easy pleasure sources for the brain. We constantly live with the scale tilted toward the pleasure side due to continuous stimuli. And when you stop for a moment to be at peace with yourself, the brain begins to compensate from the pain side, and you find yourself thinking, "My life is horrible." The feeling of being overwhelmed by so many demands, to the point of not being able to complete even a simple task like sending an email or reading an article, is more common than it seems. When we're in this situation, we tend to seek an immediate source of pleasure to relieve the emotional weight we feel. But how can we resolve this? While we can't change the way our brain works, we can learn to manipulate that internal scale. The key is to first tilt the scale toward the pain side, forcing us to engage in activities that require effort, such as studying, reading, exercising, or following a diet. When we do this, the brain naturally responds by leaning towards the pleasure side to compensate. This compensation then allows us to experience pleasure in a more balanced and healthy way. Gradually, as you reduce your need for instant pleasures, your life will become more satisfying overall. The secret lies in learning to face pain in a controlled way to reap the benefits later. It may seem contradictory, but what you need to do is consciously and healthily embrace discomfort. By seeking positive suffering, the kind that comes from productive activities, you will rebalance, bringing lasting benefits to your life. In this video, we will focus on 3 fundamental pillars to help you recalibrate that balance: the mind, the body, and the power of stillness. Starting with the brain, the first thing you need to understand is that you have control over what you consume. The overstimulation state you're in is the result of losing that control, letting yourself be driven by stimuli you consume without a clear purpose. The good news is that you can regain that control. I realized that as soon as I started consciously choosing what I put into my mind, things started to improve. Otherwise, the one choosing for you is the algorithm, and it always opts for the most stimulating and available option. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should throw away your phone or quit social media. In fact, the internet and social media are valuable tools. They help us access information, connect with people, and even give us moments of distraction. The real problem is not using these tools, but how we use them. The focus should be on having more conscious consumption, choosing what you truly want to feed your mind. If you only consume memes and scroll through the feed without thinking, that's like fast food on the internet. I'm not saying it's bad every once in a while. We all love a pizza now and then. But imagine eating fast food at every meal, every day. That would affect your health, right? In the same way, consuming content without criteria constantly can negatively affect your mind. If you want to have a healthy relationship with the internet, it's necessary to be selective. Therefore, the challenge is to discover the areas of your life where you have genuine interest and seek content that feeds that curiosity. By doing so, you won't just enjoy the internet in a more productive way, but you will also regain true pleasure in the things you consume and do every day. Let's imagine that you closely follow the work of bodybuilder Ramon Vino, and from that, you start researching training methods, workout techniques, and diets. Maybe you also follow people like Wesley Delan Garcia, whom I personally admire a lot. If we delve a little into neuroscience, we'll realize that the way we intentionally consume content is completely different from casual consumption. When you open YouTube or Instagram with a clear purpose in mind, you are actively searching for something specific, rather than letting the algorithm bombard you with what it thinks is more interesting. This type of conscious consumption ensures that your attention is not only absorbed, but also fed with a purpose. Taking advantage, I want to share some recommendations. I'm about to launch a newsletter, and if you want to follow it, the link will be in the description. I will also recommend other newsletters, with a special mention to the one from Lao-Tzu, which started as posts on LinkedIn and has now turned into a daily newsletter. The language is super fun, and I highly recommend it. This is how I consume my news and stay up to date with memes and various topics, all with very well written and curated content. If you want to explore more about conscious consumption, I'll also leave in the description a list of books and articles I refer to. And in addition to consuming more consciously, I really recommend you find a way to share what you are learning. It could be through YouTube videos like I do. By the way, a big hug to all of you who follow me. It feels surreal to have already reached the future 10,000 subscribers. Yes, as you hear, future subscribers, because I'm already declaring it, and I'm extremely grateful to each of you. My goal is always to offer quality content that truly values your time. You can also choose to create podcasts, write articles, texts, or newsletters. The important thing is to start in some way. In fact, the easiest way to take the first step is by doing what I did at the beginning. Write down everything you find interesting. Record your opinions, your thoughts, and reflections. This helps create new perspectives in your life. Creating videos, writing, or producing any type of content is challenging, but extremely rewarding. It is something that, in the end, brings that balance between effort and satisfaction, especially when you finish and feel that wave of dopamine for having produced something you are proud of. Understand one thing: finding meaning and clarity in life is not something that comes out of nowhere. It comes through action. Action is what brings clarity, not the other way around. To have that clarity, you need to read, write, and reflect constantly. Now, talking about the body, and I'm not referring to physical appearance, it's important to find an activity, physical activity that you truly enjoy. Can be anything from a walk to a more intense workout. But the key is to incorporate that practice into your daily routine. This lifestyle not only improves your quality of life by bringing more happiness and fighting sedentary behavior, but there is scientific evidence, such as the study I'm showing on the screen, that proves it. The study compares people who regularly walk 10,000 steps a day with those who reduced it to 100 and then returned to 10,000. The benefits go beyond the obvious, such as reducing insulin resistance and decreasing body and liver fat. Most importantly, any physical activity plays a fundamental role in supporting your metabolism, helping to reduce anxiety and improving brain function. Physical exercise is one of the best ways to rebalance the body and mind because from the start, it's clear that it is challenging and uncomfortable. At first, you may feel like it's a pointless effort, especially on cold days when you ask yourself, what am I doing here running? But at the end of each workout, the sense of accomplishment is incomparable. The key is to find a physical activity that motivates you to leave the house every day, even when it seems hard. Now I want to talk about a concept that may be one of the most important, the power of yet. A few years ago, I came across a book called Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck, in which she explores how different mindsets affect our ability to face challenges. She conducted an experiment with 10-year-old children, offering them problems well beyond their abilities. As expected, they failed. Most of the children became demotivated, believing their intelligence was being evaluated and feeling less capable for not being able to solve the issues. On the other hand, a small group of children reacted oppositely. They got excited, seeing the challenges as an opportunity to learn something new. Dr. Duck noticed that the difference between these groups was mindset. Children with a fixed mindset believed that their abilities, such as intelligence and problem-solving skills, were innate and unchangeable, which led to frustration when facing difficulties. On the other hand, children with a growth mindset believed that abilities could be developed through effort and dedication. Of course, some people have natural talents, whether for singing, playing an instrument, or practicing sports like basketball. However, there is a wide margin for all of us to improve in any area we desire, as long as we are willing to invest time and dedication. What I find most inspiring about the growth mindset is that it values effort. Many times, we think that if we need to work hard to solve a problem, it means we are not good at it. However, even geniuses and professionals face challenges and work hard to reach the level of ease that we so admire. During college, I spent hours studying for an exam or preparing a complicated project. Sometimes I found myself thinking, Michelangelo at 23 had already made the Pietà, and here I am, wondering whether self-help books actually work or not. Am I a failure? But the truth is that putting in effort is not a negative thing. On the contrary, effort is essential to achieve anything meaningful in life. Only by dedicating ourselves intensely do we show our brain that what we are investing time in is truly important to us. The question is, how do we achieve that so-called growth mindset? Dr. Carol Dweck, who explores this concept, makes it clear that mindset is something we can change throughout our lives. In certain areas, we can have a more rigid mindset, while in others, we develop a growth mindset. The first step is to identify where we are trapped in a fixed mindset and work to transform it. The key lies in the power of yet. For example, I'm not good at math yet, or I can't play the guitar yet. By adopting this approach, you begin to value the learning process and your own journey. None of us came into this world fully prepared. We all have something to learn and evolve in certain aspects of life. Recognizing this is what gives us the focus to continue even in the face of doubt, discouraging people, or situations that make us question our path. Understanding that everything is a process allows us to say, I'm not good at this yet, but I'm on my way. Changing your mindset, taking care of your body, and being more selective about what you consume on the internet are 3 pillars for this transformation. This is what changed my life and motivated me to create this YouTube channel. Share these ideas and help others find their own paths. I know this video was long and it was just me speaking directly to the camera. Maybe you liked it or maybe you didn't. So, tell me in the comments what you thought of this format. The main point, however, is that you are responsible for your own path. The control of your mind is in your hands. If you don't take the reins, the world will assume that control for you. And the truth is, the world doesn't care about your mental health or well-being. The world wants to use your attention to generate profit and cares little about what that does to you. But there is something you should be proud of. If you made it this far, you've already taken the first step. You managed to focus on something that isn't a constant stimulus, and that's already a victory. It's the beginning of a journey to regain control of your mind, your brain, and your life. Just remember one important thing. This video is not a magic solution to your problems. You won't leave here transformed into a new person right away. This is just the beginning of a process, a path you must follow step by step. Now the decision is yours. Will you take control of your brain and your life, or will you continue letting algorithms decide for you?